Hey y'all, Irix Guy here, and I want to talk about what is the best Jetta trim to buy and why. So Jetta comes in a variety of different trims. This right here is the SEL. There is one trim level above this, the SEL Premium, which adds, I think, real leather and I think navigation. So we're just going to go through starting at the top and then just kind of working our way down. So if you go with the SEL Premium instead of this, again, you're getting the navigation, you're getting the leather seats, and possibly a few other things. Not that big of a price difference between the SEL and the SEL Premium, but what you probably need to ask yourself is, do you really need navigation? And with this, I've got, with the SEL, just like the SEL Premium, it's got wireless Apple CarPlay. So if you're using Apple CarPlay, you got Google Maps, you've got Apple Maps, maybe you use Waze. For navigation, you can use that Apple CarPlay navigation from the in-dash screen. Now, something to be aware of, this has the VW virtual cockpit, just like the SEL Premium. Now, to my knowledge, and I may be wrong, there may be a way to do it. If there is, comment down below and tell me how, because I would be interested. But as a novelty, if you wanted to have your maps appear in front of your steering wheel in the virtual cockpit, I think that may only be able to be accomplished if you have the SEL Premium that comes with navigation. I'm not aware of a way, again, if you are, tell me, but I'm not aware of a way to display, say, a Google Maps or an Apple Maps on the screen in front of the steering wheel. Again, complete novelty. The other screen is right beside it, so it doesn't matter, but so, you know, some people, technology nerds, they want things exactly like they want it, and I can appreciate that. So I just noticed some sort of pine needle, I guess, came when this thing was shipped. It's not even dead yet. But yeah, so that's something that to be aware of. And again, just because that wasn't a necessity for me, that could be the thing that would just drive you nuts if you went with SEL instead of spending a little bit more and getting the SEL Premium. For me, the SEL was what I had to do. And you know, granted, if they had only had the SEL Premium, I probably would have gotten that, because new cars are super hard to find nowadays. They are super hard to find. Check out my separate video where I explain how to find a new car in 2022 at or below MSRP, which is manufacturer suggested retail price. That's a separate video though. But with this, the thing that sold me on having to have at least the SEL, and again, I didn't desire the SEL Premium, it was just extra spend. I don't have to have navigation in front of my steering wheel. I've still got the virtual cockpit, unless you're aware of a way, I don't know of a way to get the Google or Apple Maps to show up there. So it's, you know, the S, which is the base model, a little bit too low of a trim, because you're dealing with cloth seating surfaces, and you're dealing with you know, you don't have the power seat adjust. There's a lot of things you don't get when you go with the base model trim. Nothing wrong with cloth. I mean, I'm fine with, you know, driving a car that has cloth seats. But, and by the way, this SEL is not leather, it's like a leatherette. Only the SEL Premium has leather. But does this look, feel, and smell like leather? In my opinion, it does. Do I eat a burger that's made out of vegetables and say it tastes like a beef burger? No. But in this case, if I sit my butt on a leatherette seat versus a leather seat, does it smell or feel different? To me, it doesn't. But it may be different for you. But yeah, when you go with the base model S, you know, you're getting cloth seating surfaces. You don't have the nice seat adjustments. Obviously, you don't have all of the technology. Now, you do get, to my knowledge, and this may be an exception with some, but I think you probably get Apple CarPlay, but I know what you do not get is the wireless charging mat. And also, is that Apple CarPlay in the base model S, does it require a physical cable to tether, or is it wireless? That I'm unsure about, so that's something you want to check. What I do know, it doesn't come with a wireless charging mat. And that's a huge convenience, man. You get in there, I get out of the gym or whatever, I just want to put my phone down. I don't want to fumble with sticking those little lightning cables in the bottom of my iPhone. It's just annoying. So I just like to stick it on the wireless charging mat and go about my business. That's a huge convenience. Also with the SEL and the SEL Premium, you get the ambient lighting. It's like, man, that's stupid. You know, why do I care about ambient lighting? You know, that's just, LEDs are so cheap. That's true, they are. But what's so cool about it is that you can change the interior trim color using the ambient lighting. Check out my separate video and see the Jetta's ambient lighting in action. It's very cool. I know it's kind of, people be like, man, that's gimmicky or whatever. Say it how you want to say it. The bottom line is that it's cool, and it's, when you're in the vehicle at night, it's just one of those things that's nice. With the SEL, the virtual cockpit's cool. Again, this, to my knowledge, there's no way to display the Apple or Google Maps in front of the steering wheel, but you got them on the screen beside it. Super nice. The digital cockpit, I can view my fuel economy, I can view a lot of data. This vehicle is loaded with data. Speaking of data and tech, this thing, I've paired it, you download the VW CarNet app, and you can remotely start and stop your car. You can also do it from your, from the key fob itself. But you can remotely start and stop the car. You can even pair it with Amazon Alexa devices, and I can, using voice commands in the morning when I get out of the shower, I can tell that A word. I'm not going to say it to wake up your Alexa device. I just said it anyway. But I'm not going to say the command, but there's a command you can say, and it'll start your car. But it asks for a PIN code before it'll actually start as a safety feature, which is kind of neat. But, that people are like, well, that's just wasteful spending or whatever. And that may be your take on it. But the way I looked at it, again, we're still talking about SEL, which is this one. I already talked about the SEL Premium and why I didn't want it. You may want an SEL Premium. But now we're talking about the base model, which is the S. And then there's a middle ground, I think it's the SE, between S and SEL. But only with the SEL and the SEL Premium are you going to get all of that awesome tech, the wireless charging mat. And also these come with, and I'm sorry, my ears popped, man. That was weird. I think it's standard with the SEL and the SEL Premium. I don't think it's an add-on. I may be wrong. But the Beats audio, Beats, Dr. Dre, he invented Beats. Who knows audio better than Dr. Dre? I mean, I don't know if he still owns the company. I think somebody else may have acquired it, but it's Beats by Dre audio. I mean, how cool is that? You got Dr. Dre's audio system in this car. So that is in itself a cool thing. And if you look at this, and again, talk to your Volkswagen dealership and have them run all the numbers. That varies upon, I'm not a financial guy, but those can vary. But if you get a quote, I mean, if they run your numbers, and then you look at, okay, well, this would be my monthly payment if I got the S. This would be my monthly payment if I got the SEL. I think if you look at that, you're probably going to notice monthly payment-wise a negligible difference. And when you factor in all the tech and all the niceties that you're getting with the SEL, SEL for me is where it is. And the other thing is, and this is a sales maneuver that the salespeople may try to throw your way, but it's actually true that if you ever decide to sell or trade in the future, that your potential customer, that if you're not trading it in with a dealership, if you're selling to a private party, that person, when they get in and they say, oh man, this has heated seats in the front and the rear, this has wireless charging mat, this has wireless Apple CarPlay, this has Dr. Dre's audio, Beats audio, it's got seating surfaces that feel and smell and look like leather, in my opinion. I think this is the one to be in, because the Volkswagen Jetta 2021 SEL, it would be an easy sale, because when you've got all that stuff, all that technology, and all the niceties like the leatherette seating and the heated seats in the front and the rear, and it's got a heated steering wheel. I didn't even mention that. So it just makes it easy for someone to want to buy the vehicle, as opposed to, oh, here's my Jetta S, the base model with the cloth seats, and it's just like, man, they just, it's kind of like the difference between walking out and you go out and you're at a beach and you've got people coming up and serving you drinks, versus walking out into a barren landscape with with 120-degree heat and nothing to drink. I mean, that's kind of, that's a visual of what I'd like to paint. You know, if you're choosing between the base model Jetta S and this, the next to the top SEL Premium. This is the SEL. Again, I didn't, you know, if that's all they had was the SEL Premium, I probably would have gotten it because the price increase between the SEL and the SEL Premium is somewhat negligible, but it's still an increase. And in my opinion, that increase is not justified, for me at least. I don't need the navigation. I don't need the genuine leather seating surfaces. So for that reason, that would just be a wasteful spend. But the spend to go from the Jetta S or the Jetta SE to the SEL, in my opinion, was a necessity, not just for my pleasure and comfort through the life of driving this vehicle, but again, the future resale opportunity. It's easier to sell something with the bells and whistles than it is to sell something that's base. Now, that's normally the case unless you were talking about something that there was a radically different price between a base model and a premium model. Well, in this case, the S is the base, the SEL is the next to the top. So there's a negligible, throughout the life of a loan, 72-month loan or whatever, there's a negligible price difference if you look at it from that perspective. So for that reason, it only made sense to go with the SEL. Now you notice I did not mention the Jetta GLI within this video. Completely separate beast, and that is something that that we'll talk about within another video. I don't want to go on. But to recap, if you're looking at the 2021 Jetta, I personally would recommend the SEL. I would stray away from the S and the SE unless you just needed something that maybe you plan to keep for a long haul. Future resale and or trade value is not of concern. You know, in that scenario, you might would consider the base, because it's something, if you just plan to keep until the wheels fall off, maybe that's all you want. But if future trade or resale value is a concern, and also just the comfort and quality of all the technological conveniences while you own that vehicle and drive that vehicle, you know, for me, this is a daily driver. So it's important to have that stuff. It's not required, but again, for that negligible price difference, I would have been a fool to have gone with the base instead of the SEL. These are my opinions. Tell me what you think. Subscribe, ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. And be sure to check out my other videos. I've got a separate video that at the time you're watching this is probably posted. If not already posted, it will be soon. Talking about the Jetta GLI. The Jetta GLI, different animal, but that's completely separate video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.